Douglas Cooling and Heating, serving the Birmingham area for 38 years. 988-3706. That's Douglas.
I'm James Spann. This is the morning edition of the Weather Xtreme video. This is for Wednesday, the 24th of August. Alabama's weather pretty uneventful for a while. Of course, the eyes are on Irene. Will it make landfall? Will it stay offshore? Let's take a look. We'll talk about it. Many folks very interested, needless to say. That's the Tuscaloosa sky cam this morning, looking north from the top of the Daniel building. Feels pretty good. Readings are mostly in the 60s. As the drier air is finally worked in here. And by the way, they soared yesterday. The high was like 101. Everybody else was in the low and mid-90s. That's the Fayette Skycam up in northwest Alabama and down in Auburn. Skycam in Lee County. Off in the distance, you can see Jordan-Hare Stadium. All right, it's the old heat ridge. Actually, the core of the heat is off to the west. Phoenix these days doing about 116 in the deserts. The westerlies are on top of the heat bubble, and that's where most of the convective action will be. Highs yesterday. The deserts were the winner. And again, Phoenix and places like that way up there. Of course, Texas and Oklahoma blazing again. And even West Alabama had triple digits yesterday, but notice how the air is noticeably cooler to the northeast. In fact, notice the gradient across our state from northeast to southwest. Check the watch warning map. Obviously not going to spend a lot of time with that. Looks like one county in the UP and Michigan's under a wind advisory, and that's it. Here's the day one convective outlook. Got a front coming down this way. A slight risk of severe weather from almost Harrison, Arkansas to Detroit, Cleveland, and Buffalo. And unfortunately, that will be fizzling out before reaching us. Tomorrow, no risks defined around the nation. QPF chart, if you're looking for rain, don't expect a whole lot here for the next 5 days. Valid through the weekend, through Sunday evening at 7, suggesting nothing here. And we're going to mention isolated showers tomorrow, but isolated means just that. Most folks are not going to get wet. And, of course, the big rains with Irene just off the Atlantic coast. And, again, that's been steadily adjusted eastward and probably will have to be again. Take a look at the tropics. That's where the action is. Of course, there's Irene north of Hispaniola coming up toward the Bahamas. Now, that wave in the Atlantic looks a whole lot better. We'll address that here in just a moment. The Circle guys at NHC had that as a 40% chance of becoming a tropical depression. That's a pretty good-looking hurricane right there. Irene looks well organized this morning. Maximum sustained winds at 110 miles per hour. On the way to becoming a major hurricane coming up across the Bahamas. Modeling. Most of the models keep it offshore just east of the Outer Banks, and then the thing skirting Cape Cod early next week. Now, remember, even with this being a major hurricane, the worst impact should be over on the right side, on the east side, off the offshore side. Still, obviously, this could produce some wind and rain on the Outer Banks. How much? Don't know yet. That's going to be a close call. Could be just a breezy, showery day for Cape Hatteras, or it could be a day with wind damage and all kind of issues, trees and power lines down. It's very close. But again, the idea of Irene not making landfall in the United States is very real and on the table, as you can see. The intensity guidance, a couple of models bring it up to a Category 4 status, including the GFDL. And it comes on down as it gets up into cooler water in the northeast. And here's the official track. Now, the guys at NHC have this obviously on the western edge of the guidance. They got it coming up across the Outer Banks, really Saturday night, early Sunday. But remember, the guidance is farther east than that. And then they've got a landfall up there over the coast of Connecticut, Rhode Island, late Sunday night. Will it make landfall up there? Will it stay offshore just east of Cape Cod? Don't know that yet. Should be a weakening storm, by the way, as it comes up toward New England, a Category 1, not a major hurricane, as it interacts with land on the cooler water up there. But again, we'll keep an eye on that, obviously. And then there's the wave off in the eastern Atlantic. That thing looks pretty good. But it's one of those higher latitude systems, and it's just not going to do anything to bother anybody. The winds aloft out there are going to more than likely carry it northwest, just a slow motion over the next 5 days. The intensity guidance, most keep it a tropical storm. This could become Tropical Storm Jose, obviously, but it looks like it's going to stay in the middle of nowhere over the far eastern Atlantic. We'll check the GFS. This is the OZ run at 7 o'clock local time this evening. 594 heat centered over the southwest. Strong shortwave coming down through the Great Lakes, and that'll be the one that should turn Irene north-northeast. And that's the one that could very well keep it from making landfall in the United States. And down below that, of course, we're dry as a bone. Here comes Irene up across the Bahamas tomorrow. There's that weak front. And again, that's why we mentioned that chance of, isolated showers and storms. Don't count on it. If you get a drop or two of rain, you're blessed. Irene is well east of Fort Lauderdale. Friday, we're dry as that front fizzles out. And I say we're dry. Again, there could be an isolated shower somewhere south of Interstate 20, but no big deal. Irene is east of Charleston, and I'll say the GFS is kind of an outlier to the east. A lot of models are outlier to the west. A lot of the models are farther offshore than this. And there's Saturday, the GFS has this thing just scooting past the Outer Banks. It's a major hurricane. Of course, around here we got a dry northerly flow aloft. The heat levels should come down. Highs over the weekend only around 90. A nice north breeze, and there's a Sunday evening at 7 o'clock local time, 8 o'clock Eastern time. The GFS has Irene accelerating north, just scooting by Cape Cod. And that would be awfully windy and wet for Boston right there, and Providence, clearly. But again, some of the models are farther east, farther offshore. Monday of next week, back in the upper levels, another nice trough coming down across the Great Lakes, and down below that, we stay dry. Irene is out. There's Tuesday. And there's Wednesday. I'm telling you, we just can't buy a decent rain shower. You might see a speck or two tomorrow or Friday, but widespread rain not going to happen for a while. What about the end of the forecast, September 8th, into meteorological fall? Just like saying that. It sounds cooler. Well, obviously, that's not a cool look. There is a trough over the Midwest, kind of soupy there, but again, that's not any evidence of any big cool shot. We're always looking for that first good cool shot of the season, but no sign of that yet. That's it for the Weather Xtreme video this morning. We'll have notes on the blog. The next video here by 3:30 or so today. And if you're local to us, we invite you to watch us on television this evening, ABC 3340 in Birmingham at 5, 6, and 10. Thanks for watching. Have a great evening, and God bless.
Thank you for trusting us to be your #1 source for news
in all of Central Alabama.
in back-to-back ratings periods.
More people watched ABC 3340
than any other station in Birmingham.